is Ellie Fritchell, and I want to talk about the leading waste product, which is plastic bags. 500 billion plastic bags are released as waste every year. So restrictions should be enforced nationally because of the longer environmental impact that plastic bags have. Everyone shops daily and doesn't really think about the plastic bags that they are using. But personally, I use reusable bags whenever I go to stores because growing up, my mom has just used reusable bags, and so it's become more of a habit for myself. Today in this speech, I want to highlight the impact of manufacturing of plastic bags, where they go after use, and how we can work to decrease the plastic bags. So first, the process of making millions of plastic bags burns so many fossil fuels and involves so many factories. The fossil fuels are burned to produce this thin, flexible material that plastic bags are made out of. And according to David Brand, who works with a humanitarian organization called Global Citizen, he stated that ethylene gas is used to create this polymer called polyethylene resin, which burning these fossil fuels releases so many pollutants into the air from these factories that can harm public health. And then this resin is taken and shipped to so many different factories worldwide, and to print logos or just shape them into the bag. And the use of several factories within the country creates so many pollutants that are released into the air because they involve many different factories that increases the work in the factories and the amount of used. So plastic bags definitely have a very negative impact on the environment, wildlife in rivers and oceans. Toxic microplastics are created when plastic bags are eventually broken down, which can get into our water via landfills and runoff. The Conserving Now organization showed that plastic bags are photodegradable, which means that they don't ultimately break down completely. They just break down into smaller toxic pieces after around 400 to 1,000 years, which is actually very surprising because consumers generally use plastic bags for around 30 minutes, and then once those are thrown out, it will take the next 500 years for it to break down in the environment. Also, these toxic microplastics can seep into our soil and our water sources, and chemicals can be released into things that we consume, such as water or crops, through the soil. So the waste buildup that is in the landfills, there's a lot of runoff with these toxic chemicals that will generally get into our food that we are consuming. Now I want to move on to marine wildlife. Lots of plastic bags are dumped into the oceans, which, especially in sea turtles, they mistake plastic bags for jellyfish, and so they end up consuming those, and then it gets into their digestive system, which the plastic bags in their stomach will block the rest of the digestive tract, which will cause them to starve and eventually die. Ian Thompson, which he's a founder of an ocean cleanup crew, he stated that 100,000 marine life die per year from plastic bags alone, which this will have an impact on the rest of the food chain in the ecosystem and will disrupt many things in the environment. So countries in the world and the rest of the United States already have put regulations and fines on plastic bags. The National Conference of State Legislators showed that states like California and New York have already put bans and fines on these plastic bags, and it has shown to be very effective on persuading consumers to bring their own bags to stores. So BBC News showed that China has put ban on all plastic bags in society because in 2010, China alone produced 60 million tons of plastic waste that was released into the environment, and they saw the very negative impacts that it did have on the rest of the environment. However, the simplest form to reduce plastic bags is just using reusable bags, or if not even needed, don't use a bag at all. Because when we reduce the amount of plastic bags, this will reduce the size of the landfills and cause less chemicals to be into our water sources and soils, and then this will also create less of a demand of plastic bags in factories. So reusable bags are just easier to carry in like your car, and if you don't even need it, then consumers should just not use bags because it has such an impact on the environment. So today in this speech we highlighted the impact of production of plastic bags in factories, the negative impacts that microplastics have on the environment and wildlife, especially in the marine environments, and what we can do to decrease the amount of plastic waste produced by reusable bags and restrictions. So I want to go back to the restriction on plastic bags in China. It started in January, and bag usage has already decreased by 66%, which is about 40 million bags. So the restrictions are working to help the environment and better the planet by reducing the plastic bag waste. Thank you.